That all down. Let's get things started with this, shall we? You know, yesterday we talked about the big films coming out in November. Obviously, we got Gladiator 2. We've got Moana.
Moana, yeah.
What was the other?
Red one.
Red one.
That's the one we're all looking forward to. I think we're going to.
But no, there's another big one.
Elevation.
Well, there's
Wicked.
Elevation, but what was the other big one?
Wicked.
Wicked was the
Sonic
other one
3.
too, right?
Oh,
Elevation.
No,
Oh, that's December.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually getting more and more excited about Elevation. That Anthony Mackie movie, I'm looking forward to it. But Moana itself, I had a few people write into me last night and say, "Do you really think that Moana 2 is going to be all that big?" I mean, and they did raise a valid point that the first one was big, but not like earth-shatteringly big. Like it made like $600+ million, right? Which is great, but not like earth-shattering. And so there have been some people say, you know, do you really think it'd be that big? You know, of course, we talked about the fact that Moana has only gotten more popular since it's been in theaters. Again, in 2023, years after it was in theaters, it was the #1 streamed movie out of any of them. The #1 streamed movie was Moana in 2023. And people are still very excited about it. So that brings up the question, how big can Moana 2 be? And that's basically the question a few people wrote in and say, come on, John, like really, how big can it be? Well, there's a couple of interesting little factoids that have come out about that. First of all, the trailer for Moana had 178 million views in its first 24 hours.
Moana 2 or the first one?
Moana 2, sorry,
okay.
Thank you. Moana 2 had 178 million trailer views in the first 24 hours. That makes it the most viewed animated trailer of the year. But more importantly, it makes it the most viewed trailer in the first 24 hours. It puts it on the top 10 list. Now, this list is a little bit out of date, so it doesn't have it. But The Lion King, you see they're at 174 million views in its first 24 hours. So Moana 2 trailer overtakes that. So it's in the #9 spot.
To be fair, half of those were Logan.
Well, granted.
On a loop.
but he's
But he
probably going to be
counts.
contributing to Moana 2
That's
as
true.
well. So it all equals out.
It all comes together.
Now, I want to point something interesting out. With Moana 2 sitting in the #9 spot now, replacing The Lion King, that means there are 8 movies ahead of it that had more interest in its trailer when it first came out.
Sure.
Those are Avengers Infinity War, The Lion King, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, another Avengers Endgame trailer, Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine. I want to point something out. All of those films, with the exception of the only R-rated film, or one of only 2 R-rated films on there because of Deadpool and Wolverine, it made over $700 million at the box office, an R-rated horror film. Every other movie that is ahead of Moana 2 was at minimum a billion-dollar film. And a few of them under it are billion-dollar films. Fate of the Furious was a billion-dollar film. That Lion King one, again, obviously billion-dollar film. Thor Ragnarok wasn't a billion, but it was north of 800 million. Spider-Man Far From Home was a billion-dollar film. I mean, so it sets it up right. Now, if you want to get into a more updated context to talk about it, let's compare it to the biggest movie of the year so far, another animated film, Inside Out 2. Now, these aren't definitive, but it's really interesting information. Moana 2 is the #1 pre-sales tickets of any animated film this year for its day 1 pre-sale tickets. Inside Out 2 is now #2. So Moana, on its day 1 of pre-ticket sales, sold more tickets than Inside Out 2 did. Also, the trailer for Moana 2 got more interest than the Inside Out 2 did. The trailer for Moana got 178 million views. The trailer for Inside Out 2 got 154 million views, which is amazing. Now, obviously Moana 2 has not come out in theaters yet, but it should be noted that Inside Out 2's opening weekend made $154 million. And its overall box office, again, #1 film of the year so far in 2024, $1.69 or nearly $1.7 billion.
Insane.
Now, The only two comparables on here are pre-sales and trailer views. And in both of those, Moana is tracking ahead of Inside Out 2. Now, the projections right now are saying Moana 2 is going to make around the mid 80 millions on opening weekend. But just remember, the early projections for Inside Out 2 was also around mid 80s. Inside Out 2 made 154 million opening weekend, and Moana 2 sold more tickets on its first day and had more trailer views. Now, am I saying that automatically means that you should take to the bank that Moana 2 will make 150 million plus on opening weekend? I'm not saying that. But I am saying, despite the fact that the projections right now are saying like mid 80s, I'm very comfortable putting my money that it easily clears 100 million.
Yeah.
Like I am very willing to put money on that it will easily clear 100 million and maybe even compete with Inside Out 2's 150 million. All I'm going to say is, how do I really think Moana 2 can be that big? Again, what are the concrete pieces of information we have? We have that it was the first movie was the number one streamed movie of 2023. We have that it's the number one in the realm of animation, over Inside Out 2, the most first day ticket sales, and more people watched its trailer. That does not automatically mean anything, but I think all signs point to this being pretty damn big. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Jean. Look, you guys know I've been talking about The Perfect Jean for a while now. I absolutely love these. They fit like a dream, they look fantastic, and they are so comfortable, you forget you're even wearing pants. We all love jeans, but look, we all also know they can be a little bit uncomfortable for the boys, but not with The Perfect Jean. These jeans fit like they were custom made, stretch like you wouldn't believe, and they look absolutely fantastic. The Perfect Jean also has a seriously massive range of sizes, everything from 26 to 50 and lengths of 26 to 38. These have become my absolute go-to jeans whenever I'm hanging around the house or even going out for the day. And listen, the Perfect Jean isn't even just pants. They've revolutionized t-shirts as well. The Perfect Tee has just enough stretch to hide that beer belly while accentuating your arms and chest for that flawless look. My guys, it's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code CAMPEA at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with the promo code Campea. And after you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support the John Campea Show and tell them we sent you. F your khakis and get the Perfect Jean. Anyway, Chris, you know, we saw the numbers. We saw it broke some pre-sales tickets. It crushed with trailer views. Obviously, the property is more popular now than it was when it first came out. How big can Moana 2 be? And ultimately, I mean, we're way in advance. How will it compare to Inside Out 2, do you think?
Oh, I think this is going to be huge. I think this is going to be such a big opening, especially because what a great time to have a movie coming out that Thanksgiving weekend, right? That Wednesday through Sunday is your opening weekend, essentially, which is a lovely, lovely time slot. The numbers from Moana have consistently been great. The streaming numbers that you brought up, the original box office, it did very, very well. And those pre-sales, I mean, I'm a person who doesn't care about getting my tickets in advance. I see a movie when I see a movie. But shout out Kevin Rivera. You watch this show. Moana has a nacho boat, a popcorn bucket.
Yeah, Ray was just showing me that.
All kinds of stuff that Logan is so excited about.
The nacho boat is very creative.
The nacho boat's cool. It looks like a good piece of figure without the nachos in it, honestly. I like it a lot. We're going to put it right
Regal,
next to our
right?
AA. Yeah, that's Regal.
Yeah.
Regal's finally given us a good little exclusive. So I feel like this movie is going to do really well. And I mean, not only was this just the first Moana, a lovely, wonderful story that was really just beautifully done with great music. I mean, it also had great critical acclaim. It got Oscar nominations.
Yeah,
There's
it was
a lot
wonderful.
going for this one. So this is one that I think families are going to see on repeat, especially over that holiday weekend after already stir crazy with your kiddos or your cousins or whatever. And I do feel like as long as it delivers, this is going to be a repeat view as well, which is one of the things we saw work so in Inside Out 2's favor is those repeat viewings.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm thinking Moana 2 is going to beat it on opening weekend. Whether it ultimately beats
You think it's going to exceed 150 million opening weekend?
I think so.
Wow.
But what I don't know if it's going to ultimately overtake Inside Out 2 because Inside Out 2 had such legs and people were like,
crazy legs.
You need to go see this. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
You need to go back. You need to, you know what I mean? It was like repeat viewings and a lot of word of mouth. If Moana has that word of mouth, it'll be bigger. But I think opening weekend, this looks more like an adventure. So people are going to go pile in, you know?
I think so.
Now, one of the interesting little pieces of this too, we said that it was the number one day one pre-sale tickets for animation, right? There are a couple of live action movies that have sold more on its first day of ticket sales. One of those was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that made over $1.3 billion. The other one is Wicked. And again, I get a lot of people saying, no one's going to go see Wicked. John, you're crazy. Wicked's not going to be big.
I just don't understand this.
I've been telling you guys for 2 years it's going to be big.
The play sold 250 million tickets.
Yeah.
A 250 million tickets.
It's
What do you think the
huge.
movie's going to do?
Exactly. And have you ever been to a Denny's or an IHOP after 9 p.m.? It's just theater kids.
I try not to,
Theater
but
kids singing La Vie Boheme and Wicked. All right? They're all going to come out for this. This is going to be a huge box office.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, opinion about how big Moana 2 can actually be is pretty wide. Where do you think it's going to fall? I think it's going to be pretty monstrous. Maybe not as big as Inside Out 2, but it's going to be huge. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.